you hear stories from like struggling artists, or not struggling, but newer artists, like it's because radio doesn't play us. It's like LA can't pop up. LA can't pop up because LA doesn't support them. Like, how come LA radio is not playing our music? And what is the best way for these artists to even try to get on that list, or is it even possible?
Yo, what is going on, and welcome to another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, a beautiful game of life, part of the Believe Network. I'm Ramsey Abushala, editor of urbanpitch.com. Julio Monterosa, executive director of Vibes for the second week or third week in a row.
Might be second. Bridget had to go to a wedding, so
yeah, Bridget.
Shout out to Bridget. She's out here having fun in Mexico.
I know.
And I'm just living through her stories.
Through her close friends. Yeah, the close friends are popping off for Bridget. So shout out to her. Shouts to her celebrating her family. But Julio, we got a very special guest in the building today. In the building, in person, not via Zoom. You know, we love the Zoom
real
interviews, but yeah. Actually, you know what? After we're done recording, we gotta talk about the soundboard. Some recommendations. We've been trying to get one for like 2.5 years now. It feels like.
I got you.
You've heard him on 93.9. You've seen him on the Pa La Calle Podcast. Vinnie Mack is in the building. What's going on, man?
Hey, what up?
We're glad we were able to make this happen. You know, being in the music industry and you know, doing all the things that you do on your guys' podcast, I think has been great to see. But from a soccer, obviously, you know, because you know this is the Urban Pitch Podcast, so we're going to talk about soccer. You know, of course, you're rocking the Man U kit. What is your background in soccer? You know, growing up in LA, like what was that like for you? Seeing how the game has changed over the years and like seeing like the scene that is today versus when you were a kid. What's some of the biggest changes you've seen? I
mean, the biggest change for sure has been the culture as of late. Shout out to LAFC for really bringing that into LA. So for me, me growing up, I was honestly the worst soccer player you could think of. I mean, I love baseball. Baseball was my first sport. And then I actually played at Pecan Park in Boyle Heights right here. And they used to have a soccer club that they tried doing in the summers. I was in summer camp and all that, so I tried out for soccer. And it was one of those things where it's like every kid makes it,
right? You
know, but no kid wanted to be the goalie. And since I was terrible, they made me the goalie. And what's that movie with the soccer kids and they're terrible?
Kicking and Screaming?
No,
not Kicking.
Big Green?
The Big Green?
Yeah. That's Julio's favorite movie.
That was me. I was a goalie. I was terrible at being goalie, and I remember being afraid of the soccer ball.
No
and
more monsters, Larry.
And as a goalie, you can't be afraid, you know. Right. So I was honestly like, it was just, but it was fun. I liked being on the field and all that, but it wasn't for me. And honestly, just I kind of just watched soccer loosely. I would go to like Galaxy games with my grandpa Benjamin, and that was really it. I mean, soccer was never really a big part of my life. I want to say the first time I really paid attention was like, I think it was the World Cup 2010. And it was Chicharito versus Messi. That was like the big thing at the time. And Chicharito scored. And I remember just being so proud. I think Mexico lost. But seeing Chicharito and just like how everyone was so excited for him, I was like, yo, this soccer player is dope. Like, I want to follow him. And later on that year, he gets transferred to Manchester United.
Yeah, that was a huge
so
transfer.
my whole family was Chivas. They are Chivas fans. So I've always kind of watched Chivas. But when he went to Man U, I was like, you know what? Let me follow Man U and let me just check it out. And the first game I saw was I was able to see Wayne Rooney in full effect. In 2010, Wayne Rooney was like ridiculous.
That was the year he did the bicycle kick. Was that 2010?
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football, the other football. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200K. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet Online, the game starts here.
So I remember Wayne Rooney was just him, and then seeing Chicharito getting his chance, and it kind of made me proud because I know Mexican soccer players weren't that known over there, or anyone even on this side of the world playing over there was a huge deal. So I started following Manchester United. They were the first actual soccer team I fell in love with, which is why I even wear the kit now. And then when he went to when they transferred him to Real Madrid, I was like, let me check out Real Madrid, and
we got the representation going on right now.
The Chicharito special, you know.
Yeah.
And
he debuted and scored a banger.
Yeah.
Like I remember those 10 games he played. It was like about 10 games. He balled out. I honestly wanted him to stay, but then he got transferred out one more time. It was a star-studded team, but I believe Benzema was hurt. That's why he brought Chicharito in.
Yeah.
But
and they had Gareth Bale too.
Oh yeah, man, what a squad! Yeah,
they always been hoarding the players, man. So for years, we're talking about like this year with the 3.0 Galacticos, but I feel like it's been like that forever.
Yeah, the Galacticos 3.0. Yeah, that's a crazy name because the Galacticos didn't do.
It's just like continuous.
The Galacticos really didn't win anything, to be honest.
The first Galacticos, but then and then 2.0 when they brought Ronaldo, Bale, and Benzema and all these other like Modric even.
They did great. Yeah, but it's crazy how you started playing at Pekin Park. I played at Pekin Park too. Historic Park. Excuse Me, Miss was filmed there. Ja Rule
and Jennifer Lopez.
Was Love Gotta Do?
Yeah.
No, was it that one?
No, J-Lo. They did.
Was it that one?
No, that's not. It's Fat Joe.
But I know.
I'm shooting blanks. I was just telling somebody about this the other day too.
I remember about Pekin Park. All right, so you know where the field's at? Right in front of it, there was a Virgin of Guadalupe painting.
Yes.
Right, you remember that?
Well, because it's the Lord's Mission is right there. That's a church.
Yeah. So I remember growing up playing there. I remember going back home watching the Excuse Me Miss video. I'm like, that's where I play soccer. So I tried to be like Chris Brown and stuff.
The Chris Brown, yeah.
Didn't work out. But it didn't work out. But yeah, man, historic park.
Definitely.
A lot of
that's actually where I met Kobe too. Kobe, he did an Asian Sprite commercial there.
Yes.
Asian Sprite?
It was like an Asian Sprite commercial. I don't know if it's Sprite, but I remember like it's the same colors.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, Kobe was there doing dunks for like, I don't know, on and off for like 5 hours for a commercial. They use that park a lot for stuff.
Yeah.
I always thought if the Nike commercial, there was a Nike commercial that was filmed there. I don't know if it was Nike or Adidas, but another historic commercial. Pekin Park is just one of the historic parks, man. Yeah. Shout out! I remember growing up playing there. I forgot the radio station that it was a radio guy that had a team in that field. So it's crazy how.
They've done a lot. They've done the stuff with Dodgers too. I remember I met Manny Mota there.
Wow.
Manny Mota's there signing baseballs. I mean, I've honestly being from here. There's always been a big love for sports for everyone. That's what I love being from around here.
Yeah, and then like being from LA, you always see like in movies like, oh yo, that's that this liquor store, or like I've seen that place like. So that's I feel like something that you just randomly see.
Just the bridges, the bridge right here in the George District.
Oh man, that bridge!
Every car commercial, I feel like every Nissan or whatever commercial is just right here. On
Transformers is there.
Yeah. It's either that. What was the movie with LL Cool J? SWAT.
Oh my God!
I forgot about that movie.
That's a throwback.
Yeah, where they land the plane there, like it's crazy. I just saw it on Netflix like about 3-4 days ago, and I was like, that bridge, like historic scenery that if you watch any real LA movies, those bridges come out.
And then when they try to do it the other way, like I don't know if you guys have seen Den of Thieves. Have you guys seen Den of Thieves?
Den of Thieves, I've seen. I think I only saw when it came out.
Yeah, so it's the Gerard Butler. Like they're just coming out with the second or the sequel to it. But they filmed that in Atlanta, but it's supposed to take place in LA. It's supposed to take place in like they even put like Hawthorne or all these like locations.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's not like what is But they'll do that a lot. They'll shoot in Atlanta to kind of save money, and sometimes they'll go to Vancouver. But yeah, so you can definitely tell like when it's vice versa.
Especially if you're a local, Like I said, like and then as a LA local, you for some reason you feel like you're part of the movie. No, you're not.
Right.
Like, and that's where my love for Baby Boy comes in, because it was filmed 2 blocks from my house, and I feel like I was part of the movie. The more I look at Baby Boy, I'm like, it's not that much good of a movie. But
hey man, respect. Put some respect.
It's a hood classic.
That's a classic.
You kind of gotta watch it.
Yeah, but like I love it just because it was filmed. Honestly, I live on 10th Ave. It was filmed on 11th.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how, like, once you see movies like that, you're like, hey, I remember what I was doing when I was around there.
Right.
So it's a great feeling to have, especially for a LA local. But you are here in LA radio. How is that?
Yeah.
It's a blessing, bro. Like, sorry, let me do this again. It's a blessing though. Honestly, it's hard to believe that I made it that far into the radio industry. It was never something I planned on doing. Cause I mean, growing up, like I'm from here, so I'm from like Boyle Heights, and I'm just like, I just want to make a lot of money, but I don't know how. And then, I did move to Montebello for high school. I went to Shore High School and stuff. And even then, like, I was like, maybe I'll be a teacher, or I don't know what. Like, it was always in the back of my mind to do something with, I don't know. But I just remember when I wanted to be a teacher, I realized I didn't make that much money. So I'm like, that is not the right path. And then I landed in college, and I went to Cal State LA. So Cal State LA really helped me with figuring out that I could do radio, because they started this station called Golden Eagle Radio. Okay. And I kind of did it on the side just to like, cause it was like, free volunteer work, but like you could DJ on campus and do a lot of these events. And I was seeing how the studios work, and just, I'm like, oh, maybe I could do this. And, eventually I met the right people, and they showed me that like, Pa 106 is not hard to get on. It's kind of like just doing the work really. And then I honestly just signed up for it like a regular job, and I got in. And so with Pa 106, they bought out Cali, and it turned into Cali, and they needed Spanish speakers or people who could speak some Spanish and no reggaeton. And so I was like, yeah, I'm down to do it, and I landed there. But it's just crazy. It's kind of like the way I went through life, it kind of just happened. Yeah. It wasn't like, I want to do this, I'm going to do it. It was more like, yeah, I think I could do that, and I kind of just follow it, and here we are.
Yeah. Pa 106 had most of the radio personalities that we have now, they started in the street team, right?
Yeah, I started in the street team. And the cool thing about working with Pa 106 is that they're also with K-Day, and they're also with 95.5 KLOS and Cali. So when you're on the street team for them, you're a street team for all four of them. So it's like you could, one day you're doing Pa 106 and I'm like DJing hip hop, and then the next day I'm like this Guns N' Roses hat. I went to a Guns N' Roses concert because I was a MC for KLOS. I just had a different shirt. And then like 2 days later, I'm like at a Too Short concert because I'm doing a K-Day event. But like it keeps you on your toes, and you're kind of musically inclined. So it's dope. So
yeah, and I mean a lot of that is, your prior experiences setting you up for success, whether it's being from LA or being able to speak Spanish, or just being in the right place at the right time. How much of that like did you? I know you said that's not like the vision that you had, but there had to have been some kind of like planning or. I
mean, for me, I've always had a love for music. And the fact that when I realized that I could be a DJ, and not on the radio, just a DJ, and I could provide happiness for people with music and get paid for it, that's like a double win. So, and even then, like at a family party, like most people want to be the person on the playlist and make it poppin', and they're like, I know the best songs and whatever. So that's just how I always moved. And then when I found out I could get paid for it, I was like, let me just do both and figure it out. And shout out to my parents for always, backing me on it. I don't think they thought I'd make it this far, but they were like, they're glad I'm into something. So,
but how do you see it transition from especially Spanish music on the radio? Because I remember growing up, was it 96.3, the first station that had our reggaeton on this side? Even the top 10 count. I don't remember if you remember. Mundos had a
Mundos,
with Jalissa, which now she's super big, but just having it was those two things, and then they wouldn't play reggaeton all day. It would just be a 30-minute or an hour segment.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy how Latin music has grown so much. There was this explosion with regional as of late, but then even like you talk about like the 2016, 2017, where like Bad Bunny and Ozuna and like Nicky Jam had a resurgence, and Daddy Yankee hasn't missed, but like all these artists were just like blowing up 2016, 2017. But I know in 2010, like, and even before that, I think reggaeton was huge to certain people, but to introduce it to LA, you have to mix it with different genres to kind of like ease it in. Yeah. And I mean, that's one thing I learned about being on radio is that like it's not about having like, oh, you have the newest song, we got to play it right away. It's like you got to just introduce it to people, whether they're the youngest person in the room or the oldest person in the room, and you have to know how to like just manipulate the music for everyone to enjoy it. And I think that I think that's where people kind of like get it mixed up with radio, because the thing too is like I get so many people who DM me like, hey, this new like Mike Towers just dropped, how come you guys aren't playing it? And I'm like, well, I want to play it, I think it's great, but at the same time it's like, does a 55-year-old woman want to hear this Mike Towers song right now? I know the 23-year-old one wants to listen to it, but the 55-year-old, I'm not sure. And who's more likely to be driving, and who's more likely to switch the channels if they don't like the song? You know, you got to keep people in. So it's so, and I think that's why even like with Mega back in the day, I think that's what they were trying to do. Like, hey, we have this new genre, but let's mix it with songs that people are familiar with, so that it kind of like balances a little bit. Yeah, and then so there's the music that you want to play, right? And then there's the music that the people like. You need to curate the music that the people like. You have to consider the audience that you're playing for, right? So how, like, you know, I know you said you kind of have to ease it into it, or you have to like introduce it to make it like fit at the right time, or maybe like. So it's not so harsh or like out of the blue or whatnot. What are some ways that you were able to kind of do that to make that transition a little smoother? I mean, really, it was just my experiences growing up. Like I'm grateful that I have a very young family. Like my mom had me when she was 16, and you know my dad was 17, and they were into what they were into at the time. And like my dad was into hip hop and all that, but also they have siblings who are older, and you know my grandparents would listen to like the Latin side, and then my uncles liked rock or disco, or you know just all kinds of music. And since my parents were young, they would have me like get babysat by all these different people, and I'll listen to the music that they like, and I kind of like just got a glance at every single genre that you could probably think of growing up. So, and then me being the person who wants to make everyone happy with the music, I almost became like a people pleaser with music. So I'm like, you know what? They like this house music. Let me learn as much house as I can. Oh, they like cumbias. Let me find out all these cumbia songs. Oh, you guys like hip hop? Let me get into the hip hop. R&B? Let me get into R&B. I remember like 2002 was when I first learned about reggaeton, and I kind of like dove into it. And I had all these like little Chafa CDs from, I used to live in East LA as well. I moved around like 16 times, by the way. So I've been in a lot of cities, but I bought these Chafa CDs and learned about, you know, like I remember like Evie Queen, the early Nicky Jam stuff, the Tego Calderon stuff. And I kind of just dove into it. But I've always just made sure I have like at least a good hour or two of each genre, so that if somebody wants you to play music, I could do it. So being on the radio, they're always like trying to curate music to, you know, make sure everyone likes the music. Everyone in the room likes the music. So I kind of just, I think the fact that I've done all this studying throughout the years, it kind of makes it easier for me to like always maneuver.
Yeah, I couldn't be on the radio.
Julio has like 8 songs that he plays every single time. When we go to karaoke, he's throwing on Tevin Campbell, he's throwing on Keisha Cole, he's throwing on, you know, the same 4 artists.
Boys. Yeah. I'm playing old Kanye for 8 hours.
There's Julio's hits.
Julio hits. Whatever I can sing along to, we're playing. It's gonna be 8 hours of old Kanye, 90s R&B, and then we go into my dad's Spanish music. So whatever he liked at the time. So yeah, that's what my mix will be.
Honestly, I thought I knew it all as a DJ until I got on the radio, because radio, there is so much information thrown at you, and you have to do so much research. Like, people really think it's just like you hop on and you like play the dopest shit. Because I thought, like, oh, I'm gonna be on the radio, cool. I'm gonna just like, I have this, and that. And then when, you know, a lot of the older heads kind of explained to me how it works, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I kind of like, you know, I do it in real life too at the clubs, where now I'm like, oh, okay, this new, like, I remember when Bad Bunny first dropped, the album from 2022, I remember like I liked the whole album, but I'm not gonna just play the whole album because not everyone knows it yet. You have to give it some fluffer time. I mean, shout out to TikTok now that like TikTok makes a song go fast, right? Like it could drop today and by next week everyone knows it. But the thing about TikTok though is that it's popping for a week and then it just dies. And the cool thing about the radio is that once it gets in the radio rotation, like it could be there forever. You know,
we were talking about that with Ramsey, how like back then radio used to break music. Now it's TikTok. People are looking for that dance. I remember the reason I found out about the song because I got high by Afro Man is because Power 106 played it. Tito's top 5, like it was like number 2, number 3, number 1, like for like 4 or 5 weeks straight. And then I was like, because I got high, and I didn't even smoke. And I was saying because I got high. It was like, so but like it's different now. Like, and you said it, like you'll see a song popping for a week, and then they're on to the next phase. So you can't even digest a song. You can't even play back the lyrics and then learn the lyrics word to word for like the whole song.
Yeah, and I mean, but that's the thing I appreciate about radio is that it could establish a person or an artist or a song for a very long time. Like once it hits your tia's radio, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
It's staying in that playlist. Because a lot of these younger kids are just so fast moving that like sure they'll run up the listens for a week or two or maybe a month, but once the next song comes out, like that song's done and nobody really wants to hear it. You know, so I think that's what I've grown to appreciate that because, like I said, prior to me getting on air, like live on the radio, I thought it was like, oh, this new song came out, let's throw it right away. But I mean, there are some instances, you know, like certain artists like Karol G or Bad Bunny or Peso Pluma, they drop something, you kind of got to play it because it's them. They've earned it.
They're super established,
you know, but.
And we've all been in those like situations where you're on aux and you're like, yo, let me put these people onto this. Like, listen, this is dope. And then you play it, and everyone's like, yo, what is this, man? Turn this off, you know.
I remember 2 years ago or 3 years ago when Pepas first dropped. I remember I heard it for the first time and I was like, oh, this is sick. And where was I DJing? I think I was DJing like at Treehouse at the time. And
shout out Treehouse.
I remember I was like, I'm gonna play this. I look at my boy DJ Ed Z. I remember like I was like, yo, should I play this? It just dropped like a week ago. And he was like, yeah, f it. And he's like, it's Farruko. I'm like, cool. I played it and nobody with it. It was like the week after. And because, you know, he starts off with the no me importa, but it's like the whole build-up, so the whole club's looking around like.
And there's no context for it, and people don't know what to expect. And so like they hear this stuff and then
and I was like, I got some news from Farruko, and like nobody cared. They were just like, you know, let the beat drop. So.
And so when you first got on the radio, you know, you said like, yo, in your head it was like, you know, I'm gonna play this and this, but there was a little bit more to that. Can you get into more of like what that was, or what the some of the more experienced people were kind of telling you, and some of the tips that they gave?
So luckily, so at the time when they first put me on the radio, I had DJ Santa Rosa, who is very influential, legendary DJ and editor and producer. He was technically my boss. So he's the one who kind of led me the way on how I should sound, because every radio station has a format, right? And you tune into that radio station for that sound. And at the time, it was they wanted to do like reggaeton and hip hop, or not really hip hop, but mostly it was reggaeton y más. So they wanted more reggaeton, but like mix it with hip hop, because that was the flavor of LA at the time, and they were doing the crossovers with like Cardi B or like the Taki Taki, and you know, at the time. So he was kind of just showing me how it should flow. Like pretty much, don't play all your bangers in the beginning, because at the same time, it's like him. Like if he plays all of his bangers in the beginning, what next for the rest of the hour?
I gotta go home.
You know, like that's it. So he kind of showed me how to properly like split up all the heat by different increments, and you know, all the filler songs in between, how to like go new song to old song to trendy song, and then like, you know, just you know, things like that. So he really helped me with just trying to like lay out a proper playlist for the radio. And even to this day, he's still teaching me stuff where like just how to just keep it relatable. And I mean, the thing too is on the radio as a DJ, and you could ask any radio DJ to make the list of like 40 to 60 songs they give you, sound different every day is not the easiest job.
Right.
Every time you tune in to my mix, it's gonna sound semi-different, but I'm using the same songs I was using the day before. There are a couple songs I'll like sprinkle in to like, you know, just keep it fresh, but for the most part, like, we have the same list every day, and we got to make it sound different every single day. So it's also, that's where your creativity comes about.
And that's a crazy part, because like you hear stories from like struggling artists, or not struggling, but newer artists, like, it's because radio doesn't play us. It's like LA can't pop up. LA can't pop up because LA doesn't support them. Like, how come LA radio is not playing our music? And what is the best way for these artists to even try to get on that list, or is it even possible?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I know I've done my part where I try to put some LA artists on. Like, I've gotten FIFA radio interviews. I got Racheton, the same thing. Upcoming artists like Amalin. Like, I've tried to do my part. But in reality, the way the radio works, especially in LA, because LA is number 2 market in the States in terms of radio. You gotta outdo some of these big songs. It's like if you're doing reggaeton, like, me as a DJ, why should I play your song over Daddy Yankee Gasolina? Why should I play your song over Me Porto Bonito by Bad Bunny? Like, you gotta put it that way. And a lot of artists right now, because they're going with the TikTok wave, they're just trying to spit out songs and see what sticks. And my thing is, like, a lot of people who are in charge of the music, they pay attention to the quality of a song. And there's artists who, like, they make a song and it takes them a week, sometimes even a day, and they throw it at you and they're like, here, listen to my song, like, it's good. And I mean, there's songs I've showed to Santa Rosa and he's like, it sounds incomplete. Like, there's certain parts that, like, you could probably work on, or, you know, so people just try to move so fast. But that's why I respect people like FIFA, who takes time. He really does take his time on projects, and you could hear it in the production value. But
I seen FIFA delete a whole song just because he didn't like how it sounded. He's a perfectionist at his craft.
And then even talking to him, like, about music, like, he has like a very eclectic background too, and the stuff that he grew up on, his influences is like is very, like, you can tell he knows his stuff, and he's not just like trying to make like this very like methodical, like, okay, the hook's got to be like this, you know, it's got to pop off like this, you know, like so you could tell when the craft is there, and then they're putting effort into that.
But that, to go back to what I was saying though, it's that you really, as an artist, have to make sure that your song is good enough to outshine a lot of these other big artists. And you'd be surprised how many people do pay attention, or how many people do, you know, listen to the streets. But it's honestly just quality over quantity right now. And being in LA, I mean, LA is such a melting pot, and there are so many people in the world who come here, so many people who are not from here that come here. And in LA, like, you have to attract those listeners too. You know, like, and I know it's tough, because I mean, I remember like going to Miami and I was hearing like some dope ass artists, and they were local artists, and I'm like, damn, I really wish LA could do that. But at the same time, Miami's market isn't as big as ours is, and they don't have as many people moving there as we do, and they don't have as many cultures there as we do. We have so many different cultures here, so it's tough, and I really do hope that LA artists do get that platform eventually, but it's really hard to make it, because that's the question I always ask, like, why should I play your song over a Bad Bunny or over a Peso Pluma?
No, definitely. And even in the past, like, you had to be co-signed by a legend before you can even pop off. Like, I think YG might have been the only one not co-signed by Dre that popped off in LA. Because Game, Kendrick, so like most of these artists, they all came up from that Dr. Dre co-sign.
But to your point, Vinny, is you almost have to be a national artist to make it in LA.
And it's crazy, because even then, like, there's a lot of artists who are like not that big here, then they do stuff outside and they come back and they're huge. You know, and I know, like, even like Becky G, she was trying to do hip hop and pop and stuff, and it really wasn't like hitting the way it was. She was very well known, but like, it took her to do the Latin side and branching out outside of LA, and then she comes back and, you know, she's world famous. But I don't really know how to really crack the code in terms of like making it on the radio. Really, the way I just look at it is make it better, just make better music than these guys. And if you don't know how to do it, then there's, thank God for YouTube University. And everyone is and everyone is so well connected now. Like you could literally reach out to producers in Colombia or somewhere else that you're trying to get a sound from. Like you really have to put the effort. But there's a lot of artists who I know that like assume that they make something in their bedroom right away or make it quick and they just spit it out because they think it sounds good to them right away. Like it doesn't work that way. You really have to put the effort. And even then, if you're not putting effort in the music, at least put the effort like in your look, if you're doing a music video, in your content. Like a lot of it is so content based. If you're not spitting out content, then you're not really gonna get looked at. Because right now too, like even for me as a DJ, like I get overlooked a lot sometimes because I don't have the quality content that maybe other DJs have, and they get looked at a certain way, or you don't have the amount of followers or whatever. But it's just the industry is really weird right now, and it's on both spectrums though, for radio and for like streaming services. So just to get, because I mean even then like also with FIFA and Racheton, right? Like I helped them get on the radio, I helped them get the featured, right? But like from then on out, like it's what you do with that momentum. Chicharito scored that main goal in the beginning when he showed up, but like it's what do you do after that?
Definitely.
And there is a like push and pull with like your not like your quality, but like the technical ability, your chops versus your popularity versus your the content side of things. How do you balance? I know you said you're working on that too, but for you personally, how do you balance the your technical ability as a DJ versus okay, this is what I'm putting out content wise, or this is what I'm streaming on Twitch, or this is when I'm doing this or that?
I mean, thankfully I'm in a position now where the technicality wise kind of like took a back burner because I spent so much time practicing.
You built the foundation.
I honestly, it's like what's that saying where they're like when luck meets preparation, that's all you get with opportunity or something like that. So for me, it's like I've always prepared for certain situations. Like even me being on the radio, like I never had a doubt in my mind. As soon as I knew it was a possibility, I didn't have a doubt in my mind that I can't do that. And I remember when Cali 93.9 first came out, I saw the studio they had, and they had like CDJs and a mixer, and it wasn't like the turntables, but I had never worked with CDJs before. And I remember I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I practice on something similar. So I bought a controller that's very similar to what they had in the studio, but I'm like, I'm gonna practice and make sure I'm prepared for the day when they give me the call and say, hey, we wanna give you a tryout. Then I'm like, I'm gonna hit the ground running. And sure enough, like I practiced so much that I hit the ground running. So now the DJing part is kind of secondary for me. So, I mean, what I would say, even like for most people, is like practice your craft and try to perfect it as much as possible. And then you spit out the content after. Like, don't do all the content, but not be prepared for when they give you the call. Right.
Yeah. Is there a certain era of music that you harken back to? Because is whether it's the 90s, the 2000s, some of the like the blog era stuff. What is there a certain era that you not necessarily will play all the time, because that's there's other factors into that. But you personally, do you have a certain like favorite era of music?
My favorite era of music had to be probably like the 2005, 2006 era. Okay. Maybe a little later than that, but it was like the whole T.I. Dirty South era. Yeah. When he dropped ATL and he was doing the Rubber Band Man.
King was around that area too, right? Was that 06?
Maybe it was like 08. I remember what you know about that. I want to say, I think it was in high school.
It was like 07, 08.
Yeah.
06.
No,
you're right.
It was when I was in middle school. So like either 2006 or 2007 was King.
I remember some girl had it on her MySpace account.
But yeah, that era I love. I remember I just did a 2000s party not too long ago, and I would just thug DJing that era. I remember like playing Ludacris too. I remember I love Ludacris and even like the Nuck If You Buck. The Crime Mob and that era was amazing. I mean, and also like who doesn't love 2000s R&B? That's like that's bread and butter there.
Right. Yeah. I think that's right. Fits right.
Definitely, man. Anytime you DJ another 2000s party, Please invite me. I got my jersey and my headbands ready.
Yeah, I mean, the 2000s, that era, I mean, yes, it was when we were all kind of coming of age, and it was like that era where you're most impressionable, but like I'll still have these playlists that I have on my phone or whatever that I just go back to, and I do like to keep up with new music, and I do like to, try to discover new things, but that, like, I have like a 2-hour long 2000 playlist that just hits no matter what the situation is. I'll be at the gym, I'll be in the car, I'll be, trying to relax. But I feel like there's just something for everything from that.
But I'm not gonna lie though, I do have a all Drake playlist. Okay. I am a huge Drake fan.
Okay. Is Marvin Room in that list?
Marvin, 1,000%.
People sleep on that Marvin's Room. It's fire, bro.
It's called a Draking and Driving playlist.
Draking and Driving. Don't Drake and Drive.
It's on Apple Music.
Yeah, definitely.
It dead as it's a real playlist.
I'm sure. And
driving straight to my ex.
Yeah, and I mean, and people say what you want about him now, but the guy made hits for an extraordinary long amount of time.
He carried hip hop for a decade.
Yeah.
And I mean, granted, yes, Kendrick did cook him.
He got cooked. He got cooked.
And I mean, I was excited to see, like, all right, Kendrick finally came back out, because Kendrick, he's always like, he drops a song and then like disappears.
Right.
So I was happy to see like more than one song drop within a 1 month span. Mm-hmm. But no, honestly, like, Drake's done so much. He's introduced us to so many artists. People call him a culture vulture all they want, but I mean, the numbers don't lie.
Yeah, but it's because he changes his accent every album.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got new sounds that he's working on. He did the Mandem thing, like he did the dance hall stuff. Where he kind of tapped into the Toronto Jamaican. Like, it's like kind of the Toronto accent is already kind of like half Jamaican too. If like it just you gotta dial it up a few notches, but.
The only loss he has is against Kendrick, because Pusha T, even though Pusha T did win that one as well,
cooked them too.
It didn't
have the same.
It doesn't have
impact. But that came and went. And
yeah,
he was
right.
And he says he wasn't trying to sell an album, but he was selling an album.
Yeah,
that too.
Cameron cooked him too. You ain't wet nobody.
Yeah.
Canada Dry on the Stay Scheming remix.
Yeah, no, that was Common.
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 Yeah, you ain't wet nobody. Canada Dry.
Yeah, I think I was always a Kendrick guy. Like, I even went through like a period of like Drake hate, like a huge Drake hater phase, like when I was in college especially. But I grew out of that, and you have to respect the longevity that he had, the amount of because this music and rap especially is very you have your window, and
definitely.
If a lot of people after that window, it's hard to, and people do make a comeback, but you have that it's like kind of like an athlete, right? Yeah. You have that 4 or 5 years of prime window, and then Drake has just kind of had like a LeBron-esque run, exactly. where it's like, man, like, I wasn't the biggest fan of his last few albums, but still, there's 1 or 2 or 3 songs on there that stand out.
When he wants to do hip hop, he kills it.
Yeah,
but the singing part,
Drake with the melodies.
Yeah, dude, melodic. I like that, and I actually prefer that to like the kind of like mob boss, type stuff that he does too.
I think I'll blame Future for that one though. Yeah. Ever since he did that collab album, like he kind of switched up a little bit. But
it was fire though.
Yeah. But the album was fire.
What? I mean,
no, but even then, like he just dropped a song with what's his name? Donuts in Jail, Young Thug. He just dropped a song with Young Thug.
Yeah, I saw that, but
I heard it.
Yeah, it's trappy, but I don't believe Drake, but it sounds good. But I did love his dance album though. I will say that the EDM one,
honestly,
that's fire. Especially since it was produced by Gordo. I don't know if you guys know Gordo, but he used to be known as Carnage in the EDM world. He switched his name. I actually went to his last concert, which was here in LA, and he's kind of like R.I.P. Carnage, and then he came out with rebranded to Gordo, and now he's like really doing tech house, because he also produced half of like Fuerza's album, their new one.
Wow.
So
nice.
That's some range right
fire
there.
Yeah, that's a great like outside like pool party like vibe mix.
Definitely. Or even driving late night
too. Yeah, that too.
Just a vibe.
Yeah. It's very interesting because it's like after the whole Not Like Us stuff, and it's like almost like, oh, you can't listen to Drake anymore. But like, it's you still like have to respect the output that he's put out.
I mean, I used to listen to Drake, and honestly, even then, like I think his diss songs back were fire.
They were good. It's just they got so overshadowed.
Just the timing,
dude, he was on his neck after those. It was crazy. It was like Kendrick is like mad. He's a psycho.
He's an absolute psycho. I remember he dropped that 8-minute music video, and like I couldn't even consume it or like fully. Because honestly, I was watching. So when Drake dropped it, I went to Academics YouTube because he live streamed. Yeah. And Academics is stupid, but I don't know why. I just like to watch it. But he was like glazing, and it was like
super glazing.
I'm like, this is good, like but it is good.
Yeah.
And then I just seen the chat like Kendrick dropped again. I was like, nah, no way. And then I looked it up, and I'm like, and I honestly, it was just the timing was just immaculate. Yeah. And I mean, Kendrick is a Pulitzer Prize winner.
Right.
So I mean, what do you expect from a writer like that?
Yeah.
No, definitely. He did the art of warfare correctly.
Yeah.
So.
He had a whole game plan, and he was like doing 40 chess and all this and that. And
I'm sure he has like 5 more in the.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. So even the preview to the Ain't Like Us.
The Not Like Us video?
No, yeah, the Not Like Us videos. He has a song.
The intro.
Yeah, the intro. Like, and you're like, all right, just play that song.
But knowing him, because he did that for what other video where they're in the car?
Yeah.
And that snippet, and everybody wants to hear that.
That song never dropped.
I know it will never see the light of day. But yeah, that was that intro, and also the intro to the Not Like Us. Like both of those, like I'm sure he's just sitting on like all kinds of gems, but. Going back to the soccer realm of things. Okay. You mentioned LAFC and how they brought back the feeling, the culture, the buzz of culture, because I think we talk about this a lot, obviously, but you have to respect the Galaxy for what they were able to accomplish all those years being.
Well, I remember they had Landon Donovan, and he did like his little 3-year championship span, or was it 2 years?
Yeah.
2 back to back.
Yeah,
two back to back.
Yeah.
I remember that era, and I remember trying to get into MLS at the time because that's when Chicharito was doing his thing overseas.
And I think that Galaxy still have that global recognition. Like even when I don't know if you guys saw, but the Champions League guys, when they're coming back. They're starting an American soccer podcast. So like Jamie Carragher, I think Micah Richards is on there too. But they're talking about can you name any MLS teams? And Galaxy is the first one that they go to because of
they had David
because
Beckham.
of David Beckham and all that. But I do think that so that's my kind of like setup to this, right? But once LAFC came, there was a much larger buzz, especially in LA, and this could be a regional thing. I don't think it is. I think it's kind of permeated across the country, but they brought something that Galaxy weren't doing, and I think that they had the advantage of seeing like, okay, Galaxy, they're good at this, but they need to improve on this, and we can be really good at connecting to these certain fans or getting involved in the community and all this and stuff, and so they did an amazing job at that.
Well, weren't they originally Chivas USA? Like so, it was the same.
That's kind of a misnomer.
Yeah, because the Chivas USA was owned by the Chivas owner.
Yeah.
And then he was trying to bring Chivas workforce. The way they did it out there to here, and it just didn't work out. He wanted to be, everybody wanted to be Mexican, but it's not even that. When the Galaxy first started, they did it right. They got some Central Americans, they got some South Americans, and that was just MLS as a whole.
Right.
DC United,
they had to.
Everybody as a whole. But once Beckham came, they wanted to grow the league and make it as big as possible. So Ashley Coles, Gerard, Roy King. Roy King was a good one, but like they missed with a lot of the new signings. So when LAFC came in, they signed, first of all, the most talented Mexican player that never liked playing for the national team. That guy, Carlos Vela, is the GOAT of Mexico. And people, I argue with people all the time, like he's just so skilled. He's just one of those guys those creators that go at their own beat of the drums. So but they signed him. Carlos Vela is a Mexican legend, and he was not only a Mexican legend, he was balling too. Yeah. So it was one of those players that
he was still kind of in his peak.
Yeah, it was perfect timing.
Perfect timing. Like what San Diego is doing with Chucky Lozano. So came in, they got a Costa Rican guy. LAC had a Costa Rican guy as a center forward. The backup goalie was an Honduran guy. So they even brought a Salvadorian into the mix that was out of shape that should never played. But they heard their community, but they did not only hear the community, they built a balling team around them.
Yeah, but going back to the Chivas stuff, they so after Chivas folded, LAFC was announced like right after that. I think it was in 2014 or 2015. And the LAFC front office, you know, they saw like, you know, okay, Chivas fans don't have they don't have a team, an MLS team to root for anymore. Yeah. So I mean, it's a smart marketing play on their end to target the Chivas fans and be like, hey, we're starting this team. You guys don't like the Galaxy, obviously. You guys are rooting for because that was a rivalry at the time.
It wasn't even a real one.
I mean, it was still a rivalry. I mean, Galaxy would kick their butts every time, but still, like Chivas fans were not rooting for the Galaxy. It was you know, there's a big set or split difference. So they recruited these Chivas fans to be like, hey, look, we're looking to build a team. We need fans. This is our vision. They gave the fans like some say in like, you know, some of the club decisions. They made them feel like involved, and that's where you get the kind of Chivas 2.0 thing which I mean, and we've talked about this also a lot before, but like, yeah, it was funny for, you know, 6 months, and now it's just like, okay, like let's Carson and Chivas, back and forth. Let's try to come up with something new. That stuff was good while it lasted, but let's try to build a little bit more banter between these two.
Now Galaxy hired half of the LAFC's front office.
Exactly.
And
there you go. That's something that they
shout out to William. He made the LAFC a championship team now. He has LA Galaxy on first place. So
yeah, and I mean, you know, that Trafico game was. I turned it off at halftime.
Oh my God! No, so Trafico game this year. I don't know how you guys feel, but it gave me that slot on 2018 vibes where they're losing 2-0. Two amazing goals by Carlos Vela.
Wasn't it 3-0 for the Zlatan game? I think it was 3-0.
Might have been.
It must have been a lot more. I was
in a bachelor party in San Diego, and we're like 2-0. I'm like, forget this game. Yeah. I was kind of upset that I didn't even go. Like I didn't see it. And then we look back after a few shots. We're like, how the hell did this happen? And we just see Zlatan go. Yeah. Header in. So, but it gave those vibes again. This
last one was crazy.
So I'm happy when both teams are doing good. It's just good for the city.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely better. But no, but honestly, with LAFC, I think it's because they build on so much culture. Yeah. Because even then, like for somebody like me who wasn't following MLS and didn't really know who's who in the player world, I just fell in love with the culture. Granted, I did go to Casa LA at the time. Right. And I was doing Golden Go Radio, and we would DJ some of these LAFC events because they built their headquarters across the street. So, and they would do a lot of like intertwined things. Casa LA colors are black and gold. Yes. They're golden golds. So it only made sense, right? To like rock the same merch and check out the games. Vela was a huge plus to it. Yeah. But honestly, it just like, it felt cultured because I remember going to Galaxy games, but I wouldn't feel at home. And even then, like we're driving to this far away, city and watching these games, and it's just like, it ain't it. Right. Like I couldn't get into it. I didn't feel like it was mine. And then now with LAFC, it kind of like, it feels like home. And you know, and the fact that they did embrace like the no sabo culture, which I love, because it's like, it's okay not that you don't speak Spanish. Yeah. Because for the longest, like the thing with soccer with me, there was always a disconnect with the language barrier. You know, so I felt like I couldn't talk soccer because I couldn't speak Spanish, or I couldn't speak Spanish that well. So I'll just like kind of ignore it. But now, you know, with LAFC being, you know, embracing of both cultures and just being here in LA and really doing LA things, like it made sense for me to root for them, and here we are.
Yeah, definitely. Especially yesterday's game, they re-announced Carlos Vela, and they played Sigo Haciendo el Rey, like amazing song. And then the halftime song they always play is Oye mi amor, no me digas que no. So like, it's just that, and you can hear the whole stadium just singing it together. It's an amazing feeling, especially for a kid who grew up going to my tios parties and then like seeing your parents singing the songs.
Mana was there, right?
Yesterday?
Were they there yesterday? They were there recently.
I don't know.
I don't know. Honestly, did not see. Too busy drinking.
As you should. Honestly, LAFC games are the best though to be at. They are too much fun.
We try to be professional there,
as we all try to be,
and it's hard to sometimes. I'll
just the energy. Shout out to the DJs who are always there.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at the DJs, like the music they play, right? They don't just play any song either. They play established songs that the youngest and the oldest people know in the stadium.
Together, and they sing it together.
And a lot of them are on the radio or have radio backgrounds. So that kind of goes to show how much studying goes into the music.
Who's the DJ now? Because I know it was DJ Charisma like a few years back.
They use Charisma. They use Mondo Fresco. They use Eddie One.
It might be Mondo Fresco now. To be honest.
I know Mondo Fresco's done a bunch of them.
Yeah. Is Infrared? Is that?
Infrared does a lot of the after
hours.
Right.
Okay, shout out to
Infrared kills it. I just went to the that new arcade they have. The arcade.
The Fields.
That is fun. And he sets a
We
tone.
gotta check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely a vibe.
We should do a
video.
video.
Because I've been going straight to Chuperia right after the game. Now they don't have Sunset.
Yeah, so maybe that's our next video.
That's the next move.
And you can make the outro to that one. Yeah.
Oh, the first outro we did a vlog at the game. I was too drunk. I didn't make the outro.
Yeah, I was in the press box the whole game, and just like Squidward, that Squidward meme where he's watching.
You're watching everyone have fun.
That was me. I was just like sitting up there like boring, all stuffy, and I go, okay, like. We did the video before, we're talking to fans and stuff, and I was like, okay, let's do the outro. I'm texting Julio, like, where you at? He's not answering me. So I'm walking down the stairs. As I'm walking down the stairs, the line to get to Sunset was on the way up, and I see him, and I go, yo, Julio, like, let's go. He goes, dude, I can't make it. And I go, come on, man, let's just do it. And he's wearing sunglasses, like it's like 9:30 p.m. So I take his sunglasses off, and I go, Julio, let's go. His eyes, one this way, one that way. I go, I'm going solo. I'm about to solo.
Yeah, it was our first vlog, and I was for the people.
Yeah,
for the Pa La Calle.
That's why we have him here. He's dedicated to his job.
Hey, for the content. I mean,
exactly.
Content.
Yeah, it was.
Sometimes you got to sacrifice yourself. I do the same thing. It'll be the weekend. I'm like, we need something to talk about. Let me do something stupid.
Exactly.
Let's talk about it.
Man, I'm happy somebody gets me.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there you go. I mean, because that it works. It works out, and so you got to have that mix.
But but you got to have a balance, because I can get real stupid with it. Then I don't want to talk about it.
So you go overboard. There's a line.
There's a line. You got to be stupid, but not overboard.
Yeah.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah,
so
right. That was the first time. As our first try.
It's been 2 years. I haven't missed one yet.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't done one in a while.
We haven't done. We got to get back to
the field. That's gonna be our next one, I think.
So all right. So when it comes to family parties, are you already set as a DJ?
Yes. Even if I'm like, yo, I'm off, don't talk to me. Somehow, by the end of the day, my phone is on a Bluetooth at the very minimum. But yeah, I mean, it's cool though. Like, playing for my family is so easy. It's playing music for the people that showed me what I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm the designated DJ for everything. I could be in the backseat of a car and I'm like, yo, the shotgun is supposed to be the DJ. That's the rule. No.
You do it for a living.
Yeah.
I'll sit down and they're just like automatically passing me the aux, or like, oh, well, here, the Bluetooth. I can't move my car till you get on the Bluetooth. I'm like,
it's like stand-up comedians. You see them on the street. Hey, tell me a joke, man. Tell me a joke.
Do something funny. Yeah, for me, do DJ stuff. Come on.
Come on, man. DJ, man.
We're just siren, and I'm like, bro, I'm on my phone.
But how do you manage those parties? Because there's a younger, like then it gets to the point where it's like 2 a.m. Something like 4 or 5 theos just still want to listen to music.
It's man, honestly, family parties are tough, but I will say whoever's dancing, like if like the tias and the tios and like the older folks want to dance, then like I'll just make sure they're dancing, because for the most part, like a lot of the kids or people who are teenagers or young 20s, like they just want to hear their one song and then like that's it.
Exactly.
And even then, they don't even really dance. They're just like mobbing or whatever. They're like, hey, play this Fuerza Regida song. All right, cool, I'll play it. And they're like, cool. And then it's like, and then that's it. Whereas like a tia, I play, like Suavemente or something, and they're like gonna go for dance. It's a wrap.
It's over.
So it just, please,
read the room.
Whoever's the dominant party right there.
Yeah. Listen, man, we're running a little bit low on time, but before we wrap things up, I want to plug the podcast, because the stuff that you guys are doing is great. I was listening to it the last on the way over here.
Thank you.
The way you guys, I feel like, are able to kind of just talk about whatever, you know, like Seinfeld's like the show about nothing, like, you know, and they do it in a way where it's like, yo, man, I just listened to this dude talk about ironing their shirts for 20 minutes, and I didn't feel like turning it off, or, you know,
taking off your head at church. I'm like, heck no, I'm leaving it on.
Exactly.
Or like the smell beans leave, like, you know, when you leave them out, you know, because like, yeah, that's right, you know. Yes. So can you just talk about the pod and
I will say though, I'm happy you said the Seinfeld thing, because when I first told Melissa, who's my co-host, I told her, like, 'cause she was like, what should we make this thing about? And I'm like, do you watch Seinfeld? Like, let's just, like, because when people, she doesn't know what to say, right? And I'm like, yeah, we'll just say it's about nothing. But she didn't get it because she never watched Seinfeld. So she took it offensively. And I'm like, no, it's actually like, I think the whole point is just to be relatable.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? But yeah, so I'm on Pa La Calle Podcast, or created Pa La Calle Podcast a little over a year ago. And it's me, Melissa, and Juju. We all work together. And honestly, like the vision we had was more music based, or like to do stuff outside of the radio, because the radio is controlled. It is somebody else's vision and it's not ours. So we want to just have like our own little, you know, side thing to talk about. But you know, the more we did it, the more we realized like people just want something relatable. They don't care about the music. They don't care about chisme. They just want to, a lot of people who listen to us just want to make sure that they're not alone in a lot of these things. You know, and the cool thing is that me, Melissa, and Juju are all from LA, but we're all from different parts of LA, and we're on different paths in our lives right now. You know, because you have Melissa, who's like super successful, who's a legend at 34 years old on the radio, which, you know, a lot of people work their whole lives to be where she's at, and she's already doing it. You have Juju, who's been like grinding for, I want to say a decade, maybe a little over a decade in that building, and still trying to get his name a little more known and more established. And then you have me, who's like in the DJ world, and I'm single with no kids. You have Melissa, who's a whole ass mom. Like, we're all in just different parts, you know, and I think it's cool that we could come together and still agree or disagree, but we all have similar situations that happen to us over a weekend, and I think that's just the coolest part about it. And everything flows so easy. Like even me, like I mean, I do record and edit everything, and it becomes very easy because these are all real conversations, and I don't really cut out a lot. I almost don't cut anything out at all. I kind of just make sure the audio sounds good the whole way, because these are real conversations, and it just flows so easy, and it just really just hanging out with friends. So
yeah, shouts to y'all.
Shout out to y'all,
blessed.
Yeah, Pa La Calle daycare coming soon once y'all have kids.
Yeah.
For real, damn. Don't put that on me though.
Hey, don't put that on me.
Not anytime soon.
Hey, no kids here either. Put it on Ramsey.
I mean, you know, I'm babysitting, seems like almost every day now, but I'm on uncle duty.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
yeah,
You're the cool uncle right now.
Yeah.
You got the podcast, bro. I mean, what's cooler than that?
Yeah.
Exactly. I told my nephew, you know my brother, Jose. I told my nephew I'm on YouTube. He was like, famous. I'm like, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like all my little cousins don't give a about my radio thing. They're like, you just YouTube. Whatever, but they see my YouTube, they're like, oh, or hey, your video has like 20,000 views on Instagram, like I'm the coolest guy ever. But the radio, that's whatever.
Yeah, they're still too young. There's like two and a half years old. So once he starts getting old enough to, I'm a flex, you know, the YouTube.
Yeah, I'm popping in the streets.
Yeah.
JR, I'm popping in these streets. That's for you.
Yeah, he's the first to one guy. Yeah.
First to one guy. Yeah.
Vinny, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you got plenty of stuff going on, so appreciate you, taking time out of your day to come chop it up with us.
No, thank you guys for having me, man. I appreciate you sharing the platform and everything. I love what you guys do. I am a fan. I've been following you guys since you guys started, so just keep doing it, and I'm excited to see how much you guys grow.
Same.
Thank you.
There's only growth, you know.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And shout out to Bridget too.
Yeah,
really cool.
Bridge is.
Wish she was here, but I guess Mexico's a little better.
Yeah.
She's in the homeland, man. She's living it up. She's going crazy.
Parents was bought a whole house out there. She posted on.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking
they built
about.
It.
She did invite, right? She posted like, who wants to come to a party?
I mean,
hey, we got the DJ.
You need a DJ.
Hey,
give me the master bedroom.
I'm down. For sure.
This has been another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, A Beautiful Game of Life, part of the Believe Network. Appreciate y'all for listening, tuning in. We got more stuff coming up for Vinnie Mack, Julio Monteros. I'm Ramsey Abushala. We'll see y'all next week.